And we begin with good day, sir.
Geeks come in all shapes and sizes, and that they come into all kinds of things.
I was thinking more about the Satanic Panic.
By the scholar Gary Gygax.
Well, wait, hold on.
I said good day, sir. Not defending Roman slavery by any stretch,
but God, that's bad.
Let them vote. Fuck off.
When historians, and especially British historians, want to get cute.
Oh, it's in there.
Okay.
It is not worth the journey. This is a Geek History of Time,
where we bring nerdery into the real world. I'm Ed Blaylock, a world history world history teacher at the 7th grade level, and you are, sir.
I am Damian Harmony. I'm a Latin teacher at the high school level, and I'm also a world history teacher again.
Yeah, well, you're gonna be.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the club.
Yeah, no, it's good to be back. I just wish it was under different auspices.
I can understand that. I'm going to get to be an English teacher again for one period a day.
So-and-so.
Again next year. So I'm excited about what you've brought tonight.
Yes.
Let's tell the people what it is we're going to be talking about.
All right. Well, I will actually just set the Wayback Machine. About a year ago, I went and saw the movie Hereditary.
Okay.
I don't like horror movies, but a friend of mine does. She keeps inviting me to them. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. I'll go see a horror movie. I'm watching it. I'm like, shit, a possession movie? Like this? That's why? Like that's so 1970s. Like, and then I start thinking about it. I'm like, why are possession movies popular now?
Yeah, well, and it's not just Hereditary.
No.
I made the terrible mistake when it came out of going to see the first Conjuring movie.
Okay.
And I should point out for anybody in our audience who isn't already aware, since nearly all of you are our friends, so most of you already know this. I'm a wimp when it comes to horror movies. Like I don't enjoy them. I've never enjoyed the sensation of being scared, and I have an obsessive enough imagination that if I see something that freaks me out, I have a hard time letting go of it, and so they'll keep me awake.
I get
for
you.
weeks.
Yeah. You take them home with you.
Yeah, and I'm 44 years old.
Right.
I'm married. I got a kid, but I still, have that part of my brain that is like, okay, when I turn around in the dark room and I look through the doorway into the hallway from my bedroom, am I going to see a shape there?
Sure.
And like, it sucks, and I don't like it, so I don't like going to see horror movies. But I saw The Conjuring.
Okay.
I also happened to go see The Conjuring, which of course is kind of a possession movie.
Okay.
And it's mostly a haunted house movie. Mm-hmm. And I made the wonderful mistake of going to see that right before friends of mine and I were going to be shopping for a place to move into together. I actually went to my best friend and his wife and said, I need to borrow your dogs.
Oh, to see if these...
Because the first thing that happened, these people move into this house, right? Mm-hmm. And they show up, and it's, clean-cut American family, 3 kids, 2 parents, lapsed Catholics, which is a big deal.
Oh, yeah,
you'll get into that. Yeah, I know. And they show up and they've got the family dog, and they bring the family dog up to the threshold, and the dog loses his mind.
Yeah.
Refuses to come into the house, snarls, barks, and they wind up chaining the dog outside overnight. Stay in the house overnight. They wake up the following morning, and the dog has somehow strangled itself on the chain they used to put it to stick it in place. Here's the deal, folks. If the dog won't go into the house, cancel fucking escrow.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a website out there called Does the Dog Die?
Does the Dog Die? Yeah. But I'm just saying, as a practical matter in the real world, when you're buying a home, if you're moving into a home, when you're going to rent a place,
sure.
Like, if the dog freaks out, if the cat freaks out, if you're just walking around like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to say, my wife would have to work really hard to convince me not to listen to that voice in the back of my head.
Sure.
Because I'm as rational as the next guy.
Until
I'm Catholic, so there's a certain level of,
So not as rational as the next guy.
Well, not as rational as all of the next guys, but, and most of the time I'm a scientific, logical, rational individual. But no, if the dog starts freaking out, I'm going to have a real hard time staying rational like that.
Totally fair.
So anyway, possession movies.
Yeah. So I saw this movie and I was thinking to myself, what the shit? The last time I remember a possession movie being popular was the 1970s, the early 70s. Oh, that's why. And so it kind of formed a little hypothesis. Again, I go to genre type movies.
Yeah.
And I like to look at them as I look at a lot of things, as a snapshot. What's going on right now? What is this form being used to teach us?
Yeah.
And in that, I can really intellectually enjoy these movies.
Okay.
Emotionally, I don't really get scared of stuff like that. I get scared of existential threats.
Okay.
And also I have a list of very irrational fears that I have.
Okay.
But by and large, movies don't scare me. Jump scenes don't really get me.
Okay.
There have been a few movies where I was just like, wow, this is really cool, but I still end up just a little outside of my own head. So I'm not fully experiencing
you have a level of detachment that allows you to intellectualize the whole experience.
Yeah. This is
Jesus, if you could teach me how to do that, I'd be able to go see so many more movies.
Well, as the veteran of 2 marriages, I would say it doesn't always serve you.
Granted.
Yeah.
Granted.
So I've had a therapist say, you retreat into the intellect. I was like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I started doing some research and kind of poking around, and I came up with this hypothesis that possession movies tend to be more popular and do better at the box office when people don't trust their government.
Okay.
And that's why I've titled this Possession Movies. Possession is 9/10 of the government.
Okay.
So this will be an exploration of societally what happens when possession movies are at their apex. Now, does not necessarily mean that I've covered all the bases. It doesn't mean I've covered all of your favorite possession movies.
Okay.
Feel free to tell me on the Twitter and anywhere else that you see me around town that I got it wrong because I left out Fallen with Denzel Washington or something like that. But I looked at the ones that were really heavy hitters, the seminal works, as it were, and I found some pretty compelling evidence.
Okay, the ones that really grabbed the public consciousness and drove it where they wanted it to go?
Yeah, or reflected the public consciousness in such a way that was artistically and commercially very viable.
Okay.
So possession movies have actually been a part of our movie catalog from the beginning.
Really?
Yeah. As best as I can tell, I got all the way back to 1924. And there was a movie called White Shadows. It was British. It was an 82-minute feature film.
Okay.
Written by Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh.
It's one of the 100 that he made before he came over here.
Yeah.
Taken from a novel by Michael Morton. So that means that there's even further back literature talking about possession.
Well, I mean, possession has been the idea of spiritual possession, demonic possession has been, a part of cultures all over the world going back.
Bronze Age.
Beyond.
And beyond.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you look hard enough, you can find it in every culture.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously, it's all over the Bible. We are legion out of the New Testament. Jesus casting those demons out as probably the most famous example.
Is that the ones he sent into the pigs who then ran off the cliff?
Yes.
I remember that only because I once had a go back and forth with some friends of mine and I about if you read it backwards what it is. And if you read it backwards, he takes the demons out of pigs that he has resurrected from a river and put them all into one woman's head. Then he ruins a wedding by turning the wine into water. And then it ends with a bunch of people stealing his gifts on his birthday. And on Christmas, no less.
On Christmas, no less, yeah.
But yeah, we are legion.
Yeah, okay.
So this movie was actually discovered, what was it? Underneath an ice rink in Ottawa or something. I might be blending stories, but only 42 minutes of this movie have survived. Because these things were were printed on very flammable film, and there's what do you do with it when you're done?
Whatever it was,
celluloid broke down.
Yeah,
but it's before celluloid. It was the really flammable
the
shit.
Ugly, horrible, flammable stuff. Yeah.
So the plot is that there's a woman in Paris. She's possessed by her twin's ghost, the twin who had saved her life but died. It's very melodramatic. It's 1924. It involves a sister going bohemian for a while. and the possession not being particularly malicious, actually.
Okay.
The next one that I could find, because again, it's only 42 minutes, so it's very fragmented. Yeah. Next one I could find was from 1933 called Supernatural. I'm sticking largely to English-speaking film.
Okay.
But this is a talkie. And this one actually has the first real hint of menace from a possession. And it involves a Black Widow murderess whose spirit is inhabiting a young woman to get revenge on a man who himself is a faux spiritualist who wronged her.
Wronged the Black
Widow's
okay.
ghost, yeah.
Okay, all right.
What's interesting here to me is that Carol Lombard and Randolph Scott are in it.
Oh, wow.
Carol Lombard is a comic actress, largely, who took lead in My Man Godfrey.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she got going on the screwball comedies.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
I need to do an episode on screwball comedies.
Yeah. Yes, you've mentioned it a couple of times.
Randolph
Scott. It should be noted, my mother's middle name is Carol, with an E on the end, from Carol Lombard.
Oh, well, there you go. Pour one out for Carol.
Yeah.
Randolph Scott, you might recognize as the guy who could ricochet bullets everywhere in a Western.
Yeah. So what we're saying is this was a departure for both of them.
I think it was before they got to where they were going. Because this is 1933.
So it was a stepping stone for both of them. It was that, secret shame.
Right. Or maybe not even shame.
Early shame.
Yeah. This was Denise Richards.
Tropes.
This was Denise Richards being one of the white singing women in Loaded Weapon, the National Lampoon spoof of Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
It's like that. She was in that.
I'd go so far as to say that's an example of a secret shame.
Maybe.
Just gonna
I don't
say
know. Spoof movies aren't really
well,
shameful.
yeah, all right. But
so essentially possession movies were always around, right?
Yeah.
They tended to follow the same basic formula for decades. But then by the 2000s, they're starting to play within that formula. But they were never really big money makers. They were just something that got made. They never moved the needle very much culturally. They were just kind of there as a type of horror. There were monster movies that were far more successful, especially in the 1950s and 60s in the atomic era, where everything's radiation.
Oh, yeah. Well, Creature from the Black Lagoon, talking about monster movies, one of the classic monster movies.
Yeah.
Speaking about, my experience with horror movies being the way it is, my dad grew up in South Florida, as I've mentioned in previous episodes. And so the environs of the Creature from the Black Lagoon were, just down the street from where he was growing up. And so he went and saw Creature from the Black Lagoon with friends of his, and it kept him awake for weeks.
Wow.
Because the image of the monster's hand reaching through the window, the clawed, webbed, just barely missing the back of the heroine's head.
Right.
Just like he had to, in the stifling hot summers, he had to shut the windows to his bedroom because it freaked him out so bad. Yeah. So it runs in the family. Monster movies did better.
Yeah. So the standard formula for most possession movies from this time, from the 1930s through the 1970s, is essentially this. There's a woman, pretty woman, usually a young woman with no children.
Okay.
Often blonde, but not necessarily. Gets possessed.
Okay.
She's often a child, or very nubile at least.
Okay. So very young woman. Okay.
Kind of follows a standard pre-auteur era, but even the standard auteur era as well, because men were the directors and the producers during the auteur era, so it's still the same.
Yeah. The formula doesn't change very much because male gaze is male gaze.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You want to have a pretty woman on the screen because visually that's what gets male eyeballs.
Right.
And for a long time that was all anybody was thinking
Thought
about.
was the demographic.
That was the demographic.
Which, in fairness, that was it was aimed at white male eyes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because white male eyes were the only ones who were assumed to have disposable income.
Yes.
So the women were essentially plot devices. They were essentially MacGuffins. And in possession movies,
for some dude
for most
or
movies,
group of dudes to solve.
Yeah.
It was a problem. You got to rescue the damsel. Damsel as object. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm with you.
In possession movies, they stop being plot devices. They start being vessels for plot devices.
Okay.
Bit of a demotion.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Now, the interesting point of focus I find here in the late 60s, early 70s is their use of a vessel. Think of what young virginal nubile girls represent.
A lot of things.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. There's every college anthropology course I took is clamoring inside my head to try to come up with an answer to that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, potential fertility, innocence, purity.
Glad you said that word. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If we're talking about specifically virginal, then I mean, by its very nature, virginal, just as a concept, as a construct,
highly problematic. All the way around.
Well, yeah, but all of the tropes that are associated with it have some kind of a tie to innocence, purity, lack of worldliness.
Very white.
Well,
Whiteness,
yeah.
The toga pura, I'm thinking, candida.
Yeah.
So think also in the 1960s, 1970s about advertising and how it was, what's the word I'm looking for?
Sexist as hell?
Creepy and pedo as fuck.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Tell me what you see here.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Jesus. This one?
Oh, yes.
Oh, God.
Go ahead and tell the audience.
Crap on a cracker. You bring this one. You got to go to this one.
Yeah.
All right. So, it's a cosmetics ad for Love's Baby Soft. Oh, Jesus. Because innocence is sexier than you think.
Yeah.
And, I immediately... this is presentism, but
sure.
Jean-Benet Ramsey immediately
really comes to mind.
Forefront of my brain.
Yeah.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, the image in this ad is of a brunette. Interestingly, to point out, girl, probably no older than 7.
Yeah.
With very heavy lipstick on.
Yes.
Artfully styled, curled brown hair. Very, very pale peaches and cream complexion. Blue eyes. Should be noted, brunette, but blue eyes.
Come hither look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay that we're uncomfortable.
Don't wanna,
I know.
I don't.
Also, look right here at the phallic nature of the item being sold.
Yeah, the whatever the items of cosmetics are that's being sold. I want to say probably lipstick, but I could be wrong.
I don't know.
Are cylindrical and they have a dome shaped top on them.
Okay. So
and just I'm sorry, but the line because innocence is sexier than you think. They could have used that as a line without it necessarily being gross.
Yeah, if
they'd had an adult model.
Would have been good.
Fresh face, young woman.
Marilyn Chambers, even.
Yeah. But a literal child clutching a teddy bear.
A white teddy bear. Here's another one.
Oh God, toddlers and tiaras is gonna show up in my nightmares for a week. Okay, so this is a cereal ad.
Yes.
For Trix. This predates Trix is for Kids. And so there is a mother standing behind a daughter. They're both wearing very, I would actually say 50s housewife kind of frocks.
Yeah.
But this is early 60s, which is really what we're thinking of when we think of the 50s.
Yes.
With what do they call that kind of collar?
It's just a very high collar. Looks like something your mom
Peter
probably...
Pan, high Peter Pan shaped collar.
Looks like something your mom would have worn in her prom photo or in her high school yearbook photo.
Well, maybe earlier in high school yearbook photo, but yes. And the mother is wearing, I'm going to say that's kind of a pale teal. The daughter is in pink. The mother is smiling very maternally over the child's head as she pours cereal into a bowl. The child has what I have to say is a disturbingly blank 1,000-yard stare kind of expression. And the tagline makes me want to barf. When a woman's 5, she needs love, subtitle, and a little applied psychology.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, it gets better.
Oh, God, there's more.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So now we have, again, cosmetics ad.
Uh-huh.
The title at the top of the page is Forbidden Fruits.
Yes.
And this time it is, thank God, at least a probably 20-something.
Yes.
Looks 20-something anyway, so I'm going to say that to myself. Young woman. Of course, very, very perfectly made up. Mm-hmm. Utilizing a lip gloss called Kissing Slicks from Maybelline. Mm-hmm. And she is, there's a fruit basket in frame in front, two fruit baskets in frame in front of her. One of them with citrus and the other one with a watermelon. And she's wearing a pink t-shirt with the slogan, "I'm not as innocent as I seem," across the front of it. Now, here's the deal. That's clearly trying to press a set of buttons.
Yep.
That's not I'm going to say that's creepy, but that's in a different category of creepy.
It is.
From certainly the first one.
That's slimy.
This kind of greasy. This is like oil can Harry, but it's not disgusting. Okay, now we're getting into the hardcore misogyny. This is where the sexism. You're talking about, pedo is hell. There's no pedo here, but
no,
this
it's
is
not.
sexist.
No, I started with the pedo shit. This is the creepy shit.
This is a cigar ad. Mm-hmm. For tipped cigars, which are the ones that have a cigarette holder,
right?
So you don't have to use a plug cutter or a clipper. So these are weeful cigars, is what we're saying. These are cigars for guys who don't actually want to smoke real cigars.
So Nick Fury.
I forgot he used All right, well, he's the one exception. But blow in her face and she'll follow you anywhere. It is. She's
got it all over her face too.
Oh God, there is a truly very attractive, interestingly
dark complected,
Latina looking woman, dark hair, very dark eyes.
I couldn't find the date on this, but I wouldn't be surprised to know that it probably came out around the same time as West Side Story.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's a good point. And anyway, a man, dark-haired gentleman, can't really see very much about his complexion, but anyway,
he's a stunt cigar.
He's a stand-in, yeah. And he is literally blowing smoke in this woman's face, and the woman's reaction is almost she's clearly entranced, which
she's making eye contact.
She is making eye contact, which isn't what would happen, because having accidentally had cigar smoke blow into my own face, it hurts.
Okay, that's not really what's being blown in her face.
I know.
Okay.
I understand that.
And
I get it.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. And eye contact is
a thing.
Is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. The Freudian imagery is obvious. I am going to say, though, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, but not right there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I'm probably leaning into the microphone that far. I probably completely blew the levels out right there. But anyway, I've seen this one before.
It's an ad for men's pants.
It's for men's slacks, specifically ones made out of Dacron. So this dates it. They make a point of saying they're Dacron, which I don't think anybody actually uses anymore.
No,
because there are better materials now. And so anyway, it's a slacks ad. So the male figure in this ad is only viewed from about
the navel down,
slightly above the navel down. Yeah. And he does have we can see a necktie.
Yep.
That is properly worn with the end of the tie down at his belt buckle. And there is a tiger skin rug underneath him, and he is resting his foot on the head of the tiger skin rug.
Sounds like no problem whatsoever.
As one would do in a manful victory kind of confidence pose, superhero pose kind of thing. However, the head of this particular tiger is not a tiger's head. It is a woman's head with a rather bemused expression on her face. And the tagline is, "It's nice to have a girl around the house."
It has nothing to do with pants.
The tone of conquest is unmistakable here. And yeah,
dominance.
That's dominance. Yeah. So where are pants? You'll get the girl.
Right.
Yeah. So what we're saying here is, big surprise.
Right.
The 60s and early 70s were a time of rampant, blatant sexism that was just so ubiquitous nobody realized it was sexism.
Yeah. It was the way things were.
Yeah.
And so having women as the vessel for your plot device was not that big a deal.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the formula, right?
Right. Yeah.
Pretty young white girl gets possessed.
Yes.
Does things that we as men would find uncomfortable for her doing for herself.
Okay.
But we have
it's a power dynamic.
Yep.
Okay.
But we have far less problem with her allowing it to be done to her by an older white man in a position of authority.
Okay.
The girl in The Exorcist uses the crucifix to masturbate.
Yes.
She uses several sexual terms to unsettle the older men.
Yes.
Now, her agency in that, it's not really her agency because she's possessed.
Because she's possessed.
But she's still using the words, and it's still very unsettling, despite ads like that.
Yeah.
Eventually, an older man, Max von Sydow here, typically one who waves off her sexual aggression and her advances at some point, he saves her and rescues the world from her and whatever possessed her.
Yeah.
That's your formula.
Yeah.
Really, that formula is a reassertion of male hierarchical, patriarchal power. Papa knows best, right?
Well, yeah.
White males in authority, older white males in authority, older white males in institutional authority.
Older white males in institutional religious authority.
Yep. Moral authority.
If we're going to do the layer cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still interesting that, which we found previously innocent, even as we fetishized it and sexualized it, is now a source of scary.
I really don't like "we" there.
Yeah, as a culture.
I want to.
Yeah. I wasn't even alive, man.
Squick. But yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It's the vessel of scary. And it's the whole reason that these movies are scary. And here's why. The government, our democracy, is filled with white men in power with moral authority. And it was no longer an institution that we could reliably trust. As such, our anxiety rose, and we needed a safe way to express that.
Okay.
And since it was the white men in power whom we'd always trusted, whom we'd elected to steward us, the blame could not be laid at their feet. It had to be something that we could still save using them.
Okay.
It had to be something that could be easily reversed.
Okay. Utilizing those same tools of hierarchical, patriarchal authority.
Yeah. Reasserting its goodness.
Okay.
At a time where its goodness was highly suspect.
Okay.
And we couldn't not face it.
Okay.
Now, this is not unlike ancient Rome, by the way. Slaves upsetting the natural order of things was always scary to the masters. And because slaves were in very trusted positions. They handled your food. They took care of your children. They put you to bed.
Many of them were government officials toward the later empire.
Yeah.
It was the whole reason their economy turned into a complete joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's easy to outsmart an inattentive master. It's easy to slit his throat and to escape. So plays in the early Republic were often just lifted from Greek plays, by the way. The Romans did nothing original. They would reflect this. Pseudolus, upon which a funny thing happened on the way the Forum was based.
I played Senecas in that in high school.
Oh, nice.
First time around.
Played by Buster Keaton in the movie, and he actually spoke. But Pseudolus does this masterfully. So you've got this slave spending the whole play outsmarting his master, using his cunning and his intelligence in a way that threatens to deprive the master of the master's property himself.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he makes a deal, says, if I do this, you'll give me my freedom, or you'll give me 20 silver pieces, and I can buy my freedom, and if I fail, then you can still beat me. Which he could have done anyway. The master goes for it, and ultimately it ends with his plans not quite coming to fruition, and so we start the next day anew with the slave rightfully back into his place. Everybody's relieved.
Yeah.
That's the tension that builds the humor, right?
Yeah, well, and a moment to talk about the difference between drama and comedy.
Yes.
It is a comedy, so at the end of a comedy, status quo ante is restored.
Yes.
Whereas at the end of a tragedy, status quo ante is utterly shattered. Everybody dies. Mass panic, hysteria. Yes. Yeah.
Now, the Romans couldn't really conceive of a world without slaves, where the masters didn't rightfully own their slaves. So as such, there wasn't any need for a play criticizing the very unstable practice of slavery itself. You're not going to see an Uncle Tom's Cabin in ancient Rome.
No. Well, because the institution was,
yeah,
in many ways, as we've spoken about, was in many ways fundamentally different. But yeah, the limitations of the classical mindset in regard to the possibility of there being some other something, because slavery had always existed in every civilization ever up to that point. Yeah. So what?
Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah.
So I just point that out to point out that, like, regularly society will challenge itself to a point, and then the end of the movie, return to coda. Okay?
Yeah. Well, Apollonian.
Yeah. Exactly.
It is
exactly.
We want to see our fears expressed and ultimately overcome.
Exactly. Hey, Geek Nation, it's Damian.
And Ed, and we're here to pitch a book at you. It's from a good friend of mine and a good friend of the show, Bishop O'Connell. The books are the American Fairy Tale Trilogy, The Stolen, The Forgotten, The Returned. If you're a fan of urban fantasy, you're going to love these. If you're a fan of Celtic folklore, you're going to love these even more. They're very well researched in terms of the stories and everything that they tie into. And he's a very good guy, and like I said, a good friend of the show. So go out, pick them up, read them, and now back to us being smart Alex.
Exactly. So back to the 60s and 70s.
Yes.
Rosemary's Baby.
Yes.
1968.
Okay.
Grossed $33,395,000.
Big bucks. Do you have the figure on what the budget for the film was?
I don't.
Because I'd really be curious to see in
right.
You said it was
68.
68. What in $68? What the budget was of the movie?
Sure.
Versus its
I can tell you that it pulled in $245 million in today's money.
Sweet Jiminy Crickets.
Yeah.
So now here's I'm going to ask this.
Sure.
And I'm just going to ask the question.
Sure.
For now. Did you, in the process of researching this, did you get into the relationship between Rosemary's Baby and the author of Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist and the author of The Exorcist?
Not so much, because I was mostly looking at the correlation between this and trust in the government. Okay.
Because there's a point when once we've gotten a little further, there's a point I do want to come back to talk about it, because the one of them, the Exorcist was a reaction to Rosemary's Baby.
Yes, that. Okay. And I get into that when I read some of the reviews.
Okay, all right. So
trust in the government in 1968 was 55%.
Okay.
And it's on a downward trend.
Yeah.
Steep decline from 1964, by the way.
Okay.
In 1968, President Johnson was a proven liar.
Yes.
Humphrey was accusing protesters of starting police riots in Chicago during the convention.
Yeah.
Robert Kennedy is killed.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King is dead.
Yeah.
Malcolm X is dead.
Yeah.
Watts, Detroit, Harlem, all of them had been on fire by this point.
Yes, literally. Yeah.
Our social fabric wasn't just unraveling, it was breaking down at the basic molecular level.
Yeah.
Richard Nixon got elected president with a secret plan to get us out of a war that was increasingly unpopular. It was still more popular than it was unpopular, though. We're still 2 years out from Kent State, where people, a majority of Americans supported killing those kids. Mm-hmm. Now, this war, the Vietnam War, was a war that we'd gotten into under false pretenses from prior leaders whom we'd trusted quite a bit. Truman, Ike, JFK, all had well above 60% trust.
Approval and trust ratings, yeah.
The general zeitgeist was beginning to fracture even more and more. The government wasn't something that we could exactly trust anymore, and our innocence as a democracy wasn't as easy to point to. There was blood on everyone's hands.
Yeah.
It wasn't an extant innocence. It's as though some sort of malevolence was in our country, and we were unable to figure it out or even face what had gotten it there. It couldn't be the white men who were in power. It had to be something else.
Yeah.
And eventually we could be saved if we just elected the right white man to power.
And everybody picked Nixon.
Whoops.
But well, it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
an interesting lesson in what it is that looks like the right answer when you're in those kinds of circumstances.
And what looks like the right answer absent a righter answer. I mean, Robert Kennedy got shot in the head while he was in L.A.
Yeah.
That really changed things. It
Yeah.
made Humphrey the front runner.
Yeah.
Humphrey was the centrist establishment candidate.
Yeah.
This should sound familiar. So, and RFK was killed a scant 5 years later after JFK, and he was killed within months of Martin Luther King. I mean, there were a lot of
There was a lot of
there's
trauma.
a lot
a lot of societal level
a lot
trauma.
of luminaries who looked like they could actually take the ball and run with it and bring us back to where a lot of hinge points
Yeah.
in history swung the wrong way because people kept getting killed.
What Herbert in Dune referred to as cusps.
Yes. And if you look at the political landscape, the advertisements, as I just showed you,
Ugh.
they got to be much more about the personality of the one running and how he would right the ship, whichever way you leaned. So you remember when Johnson runs against Goldwater.
Oh my God! Yeah, do I remember?
Yeah.
What's the
The flower.
the flowers ad
And then the countdown.
and
And the nuclear bomb exploding.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember
zooming in on the girl's eye.
slang. I'm trying to remember what the slang term or the nickname is for that ad. But the other one that really caught my attention in reading about that time period was the long form, 3 or 4 or 5 minute long advertisement in which an actor read an interview with a Republican, essentially a Republican against Goldwater, a Republican for Johnson,
Okay.
saying, I'm a Republican, my whole family, we've been Republicans forever, and this guy Goldwater is nuts.
Well, Goldwater,
we can't trust him. He's unhinged, and I can't vote for this guy. I have to vote for Johnson for the good of the country.
right.
For the good of the country.
Even though you disagree with him
Even
in a
though
lot of
you
ways.
disagree with him on a lot of things, even though, our team, their team, for the good of the country. Just saying.
Well, it's a good thing we learned from that.
Yeah.
So the guy in the ad is going to stand as a bulwark and protect you from the misguided ideology of the other side. Not from the other guy, but from the misguided ideology. So yes, Goldwater is a personality that you're running against, but he represents this darker, more damaging version of Republicans than ever
malevolent,
before.
This darker, malevolent, incorporeal.
Yes.
It's an ideology. It's a spirit.
Right.
It's not a person you can touch. Yeah,
Right.
Okay. All right.
No, I mean, if
I
Goldwater wins,
I see the metaphor here.
yeah, if Goldwater wins, there will be nuclear war. That little girl will get blown up. Think of the children.
Yeah.
Think of the children. By the way, that little innocent girl playing with flowers.
Blonde hair, white girl.
Stand in for our country.
Yeah.
Innocence, y'all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So by 1968, this war that we had started, damn near 20 years earlier,
Yeah.
by starts and fits, these social issues that we began trying to fix, well, not really, but sort of, but not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were attempts, but not really, but sort of, but not really.
Yeah.
They were both growing way beyond what felt safe and controllable. Nothing was going as promised, and it was getting more and more uncomfortable. Rosemary's Baby, here's the plot. A young couple moves into an urban environment, which they're immediately warned against because cannibalism and murder.
I had forgotten the cannibalism part, but yes.
Cannibalism.
Yeah.
Rosemary meets a young drug addict in the city, like you do.
Yeah.
Heroin's starting to come back to America from Vietnam.
Oh, right.
It's invading the urban centers because that's where the poor are. That's also where a lot of African Americans are. And Nixon did a really good job of painting heroin as a black people drug.
Oh.
And pot as a black people drug.
As a black people drug, yeah.
Yeah, that silent majority racist bullshit.
Yeah.
So we're already reinforcing as much as we can here in this movie. We're pulling on tropes. Anyway, they see some weird shit. They decide to make a baby. Okay.
Just what you do.
Like you do. And there's a scene where she's possibly drugged and then raped by a demon with a cult of naked people watching. The next morning, she has scratches on her body, and she asks her husband what happened, and he informs her that, well, you fell asleep, but I had sex with you anyway because I know that we were trying to conceive, and I didn't want to deprive you of that. He's a real team player.
Real team player. And just, how times change in terms of norms and
spousal rape wasn't a crime back then.
The very idea was a contradiction in terms. Yeah.
So it comes out that the building used to be a place for a bunch of Satanists, like you do, like you see in Soho in the late 1960s. There's the Village. I mean, they're kind of weird, but in Soho you got Satanists. It's how it goes.
It's what happens.
It turns out that she ends up giving birth to Satan, and she accepts it. The end.
Yeah.
She gives birth to Satan. And accepts it. And she rocks the cradle at the end.
Yeah.
She's shaking the bassinet.
Yeah.
Nixon.
Okay.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Now, this comes out during the election year. So, yeah. Now, here's what Roger Ebert said in 1968. Quote, and I'm pulling quotes from his review. When the conclusion comes, it works not because it is a surprise, but because it is horrifyingly inevitable. Rosemary makes her dreadful discovery, and we are wrenched because we know what was going to happen and couldn't help her. This is why the movie is so good. Both Rosemary's Baby and Hitchcock's classic Suspicion are about wives. Suspicion came out at the same time. He often would set movies against each other to explain them both. They're about wives deeply in love who are gradually forced to suspect the most sinister and improbable things about their husbands. But Cary Grant in Suspicion was only a bounder and perhaps a murderer. Only.
The husband in this one is an agent of Satan himself.
Yeah, an unwitting agent, by the way.
Okay.
And we didn't even really believe that since he was Cary Grant. Rosemary, on the other hand, is forced into the most bizarre suspicion about her husband, and we share them and believe them. Because Polanski... Oh, yeah, it's a little problematic.
Yeah.
Because Polanski exercises his craft so well, we follow him right up to the end and stand there, rocking that dreadful cradle. That baby is the Vietnam War. We are now rocking that cradle.
Okay.
Remember how our trusted leaders got us into that late 1940s and early 1950s war? Remember what social ills our trusted leaders ignored and let metastasize at home because of that war?
Yeah. Okay.
Remember why the U.S. government got the United States into it in the first place? To prop up the French Empire and avert a communist domino effect that ultimately didn't happen?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the French got out and our government ended up holding the bag.
Yeah.
And then propping up a known-to-be failing dictatorship in South Vietnam, violating the Geneva Convention, stopping democratic elections from happening, and further investing in a war that didn't impact us all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So by 1968, over 20,000 Americans had died over there, and there was no end in sight. A presidential candidate was in secret talks with the other side to stall negotiations at the end of the war so that he could win the election. And simultaneously, there's a draft going on, killing those who are loyal and radicalizing those who are loyal to the point of having to leave the country.
Yeah. Yeah, or get a note from a doctor indicating you have bone spurs.
Well, yeah, or get 5 deferments because, your dad helps the Department of Defense. Whatever,
What, like you do.
Yeah.
Join the National Guard.
Yeah. Man, those Democrats are cowards when they were young.
Air National Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. That's the other guys.
Yeah.
The baby Rosemary is rocking in the cradle is the Vietnam War and or potentially Nixon's presidency. Okay. So in the late 1960s, a lot of people were taking Timothy Leary's advice. Turn on, tune in, and drop out.
Yes.
Okay. A lot more people are doing more than just communal drugs. Barbiturates are on the rise, the kind where you just melt away. So are other escapes like cults. You might remember Charles Manson,
Yeah.
the failed Beach Boy.
Yeah. Well, Charles Manson, the failed Beach Boy, also Jim Jones.
Yep. Well, that's late 70s. But Jim Jones gets
But
started
he's
in the
getting
early 60s.
started
Yeah,
in the
in
early
the 60s.
and by 71,
That's true. He's big in Oakland.
He's really big in Oakland,
Mm-hmm.
and his church and movement are really starting to look really culty
Which sucks
by that point.
because he, like, on the one hand, he had such a wonderfully progressive platform. This is how cults work, though.
Yeah.
He was incredibly multiracial.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he
was the
Yeah.
one thing that can really be said positively about him was that he really did believe that a utopian ideal would be one in that was post-racial. That the problem was he had that great idea married to inherent megalomania and possibly bipolar
Yeah.
tendencies that led to him being, pardon my French, but bug fuck crazy
Yeah, a little bit nuts.
and paranoid.
Yeah.
So
So you've got all these things happening,
Yeah.
and they're symptomatic of not being able to trust a system that heretofore had been fairly reliable,
Yeah.
dependable, and accessible for mainstream America.
okay.
I do not want to speak for the marginalized groups back then.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because I'm pretty damn sure
That would be-
all the anti-gay laws, all of the anti-race mixing laws, all of the anti-black people laws, all of the Anti-Exclusion Act laws, all of those things.
all that stuff. Yeah.
But for like middle America,
For the majority culture,
right? For the dominant culture,
the dominant. Yeah.
even they're starting to unravel
Oh, yeah.
because now the U.S. government is run by people who look just like the ones that they used to trust,
Yeah.
but they're not trustworthy.
Yeah.
It's like something has invaded them.
Something has happened to them.
Right.
They're not like they used to be.
The desire to disengage and just accept it was pretty overwhelming, and fewer folks were voting, too. For instance, in 1968, 60.9% of eligible voters voted. That was down 1% from the previous election.
Oh wow.
In 1972, that number drops to 55.2. Now, that's a big fucking drop. That's 5.7%. Big drop. More importantly, the voting age got lowered in 1971 by constitutional amendment.
Yes.
That should have added 10 million to the rolls.
It should have.
And it still dropped. Despite that, it still dropped by 5.5%. Especially in light of the fact that the youth could now vote on whether or not to continue the war that was killing them.
Well, but by that same point,
Yeah.
most of that demographic had been so completely turned off by the figures that were then in power.
But they literally are facing an existential threat that a vote could help solve. And they were like, nah, it's not worth it. This is a bullshit system. They are turned off.
Yeah,
They're
well,
pushed away.
Yeah, well, yeah.
By the people who are killing them.
Yes,
Yes.
and that's
Yeah.
the perennial problem with younger generation voters is they're still
Yep.
hunting unicorns. To borrow a phrase from
And bless them for
other
it.
people. Well, yeah, but after a certain point, if it's between Sauron
Yeah.
and somebody who's not
And a
Sauron,
donkey.
yeah, like
It's not a unicorn.
I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna
Well, yeah.
vote for the horse
Yeah.
here. I'm not gonna
yeah.
let. I'm gonna take positive action to make sure the Lord of Darkness doesn't wind up
Yeah.
taking over.
Oh, yeah. So
But anyway,
that drop in voting rolls is commensurate with the loss of faith in the U.S. government.
Yes.
I stuck to, I believe it was a Quinnipiac polls going all the way back, so I was comparing apples to apples. From 1968 to 1972, trust in the government drops by about 4%. That's pretty close to the drop in voting roll, too.
Yeah.
From 72 to 74, it drops by another 16%.
holy crap!
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and, think about what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's huge, and it continues to plummet after that fact, which I found fascinating. You know what else was on the rise, though?
What?
Possession movies.
Okay.
1973, Exorcist.
Yes.
It grossed $444 million. That is the equivalent to $2.5 billion today.
Oh yeah, it was a huge runaway success.
For an idea of scale,
Huge, yeah.
it made about as much money as Avengers Endgame has made.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was that quintessential.
Yeah.
It was the measuring stick against which all others would be measured. This is before blockbusters existed, by the way. This is before Jaws.
This is before Star Wars, before Jaws, before any of those
and it came out
movies.
It came out during Watergate.
Okay.
Trust in the government was below 46% and continuing to drop. The figures that I have are for the year before and after. Oddly enough, it doesn't actually measure 73. It measures 72 and 74.
Okay.
It goes from just over 50 to the mid-30s. It's insane how quickly it drops. I mean, it makes sense given what's going on.
Well, yeah.
But that is a huge goddamn drop.
Oh, yeah.
I would say it's the only time such a dip has been for justified reasons, because we have seen similar dips, but it's so obviously partisan.
Oh,
It's Republicans being pissed that a Democrat's in charge.
Yeah.
And it's Democrats being pulled further to the right. People can't point to a real and legitimate reason when that happens. It's just a personality-based argument. Mm-hmm. I don't need to discuss Exorcist too much. I mean, it's a well-known plot. It's part of our social fabric.
Yeah.
A couple years later, Saturday Night Live had a skit with Richard Pryor on it.
Yeah.
And I just recently, like a week ago, realized that there was a brilliant rhyme in it. So have you seen the skit with Richard Pryor?
No.
Okay, so not Jane Curtin, Lorraine Newman is
Newman.
playing the little girl.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor and I think it's probably Richard Pryor and Garrett Morris are the priests. And
that's a departure.
Yeah,
but
and it's very much this is what would happen if they were black priests.
Oh, okay.
Skit.
All right.
So Lorraine Newman's saying all kinds of terrible things, and they're like, "Oh, I don't believe you," blah blah blah. And then Lorraine Newman says, "Yo mama sew socks that smell." Throws a yo mama joke in there. It's 1975.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor affects this stance where he stands back on one leg and shakes his head, like kind of looks at her and says, "What'd you call my mama?" "Yo mama sew socks that smell." And I was like, "Oh, that's funny, haha." And then he's like trying to choke her, and then they're like pulling him off of her and shit like that. And she calls him a jive turkey at one point.
Yeah.
And all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But the "Yo mama sew socks that smell" line is a rhyme to the actual line in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't catch that until this year. Until like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, we are a long since post-Exorcist generation. We were born 2 years after the movie came out.
No,
so
you
by the
were.
time we were.
You
oh
were.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
I was nearly 3 years after that.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Yeah. So here's what Roger Ebert had to say.
Okay.
He didn't like the movie, although his criticisms and his distaste peel back at what's really happening in American culture.
Okay.
He says, "The year 1973 began and ended with cries of pain. It began with Ingmar Bergman's Cries and Whispers, and it closed with William Friedkin's The Exorcist. Both films are about the weather of the human soul, and no two films could be more different. Yet, each in its own way forces us to look inside, to experience horror, and to confront the reality of human suffering." I skip around a bit. Friedkin's film is about a 12-year-old girl who is either suffering from a severe neurological disorder or perhaps has been possessed by an evil spirit. Friedkin has the answers. The problem is that we doubt he believes them. We don't necessarily believe them ourselves, but that hardly matters during the film's 2 hours. If movies are, among other things, opportunities for escapism, then The Exorcist is one of the most powerful ever made. Our objections, our questions, occur in an intellectual context after the movie has ended. During the movie, there are no reservations, but only experiences. We feel shock, horror, nausea, fear, and some small measure of dogged hope. This movie doesn't rest on the screen, it's a frontal assault. It may be that the times we live in have prepared us for this movie, and Friedkin has admittedly given us a good one. I've always preferred a generic approach to film criticism. I ask myself how good a movie is of its type. The Exorcist is one of the best movies of its type ever made. It not only transcends the genre of terror, horror, and the supernatural, but it transcends such serious, ambitious efforts in the same direction as Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby. I am not sure exactly what reasons people will have for seeing this movie. Surely enjoyment won't be one. Again,
Yeah.
we're going there to traumatize ourselves to the tune of $444 million, the equivalent of $2.5 billion.
Yeah.
Let's see. Surely enjoyment won't be one, because what we get here aren't the delicious chills of a Vincent Price thriller, but raw and painful experience. Are people so numb they need movies of this intensity in order to feel anything at all? It's hard to say. I would say it's not. I would say he's begging the question there, to be honest. Even in the extremes of Friedkin's vision, there is still a feeling that this is, after all, cinematic escapism and not a confrontation with real life. There is a fine line to be drawn there, and The Exorcist finds it and stays a millimeter on this side.
Wow.
This review is contemporaneous with the movie. He's talking about the times he's living through, and it's clear that the times he's living through fit this movie.
Okay. And now I'm going to jump in about the relationship between those two films.
Cool.
So, Rosemary's Baby was written by a guy who got his bones as a screenwriter named Ira Levin.
Okay.
And Ira Levin basically wrote it to be a very secular possession film. Okay, so she carries the spawn of Satan, and the help that she receives is not from any kind of religious authority.
Right.
It's from a neighbor. I don't remember enough of the details about the story, but it's from a
neighbor couple,
a neighbor couple who goes to the public library,
right,
and looks up all the books and all the information and all the lore. And then in the end, I mean, all of that winds up failing, and it winds up having this very Dionysian ending where chaos wins.
Yep.
And the one of the descriptions I've heard about her reaction at the end of the film isn't like, well, this is what it is. I have to live with it kind of acceptance, so much as it is she's so thoroughly traumatized and so terribly shocked that's the only response that she can have is to sit and rock the crib, because she's not there anymore.
She's stunned into complicity.
She has been, you could say, stunned into complicity, or she has been ground down to non-agency. If that makes sense.
That 100% does, given what I'm seeing historically.
Yeah. Now, so that's Rosemary's Baby.
Okay.
And that was written by this guy Ira Levin, who specifically wrote it to be anti-authoritarian, anti-religious authority, anti-religious hierarchy, anti all of that stuff. Now, Blatty is the author of the novel of The Exorcist.
Okay.
And I got to find his first name here. I apologize here. But anyway, Blatty is the last name. We're going to go with that for the moment. The novel came out in 1971. And Blatty was a devout Catholic.
That seems obvious.
Who wrote his novel as a response to what he saw as an assault on the church by Rosemary's Baby.
Gotcha.
So Rosemary's Baby is, the church never even enters into it. They never go into a church. They never talk to a priest. They never talk to any of these people.
Yeah.
Blatty literally believed that was putting people in spiritual peril.
Oh wow!
Like he was a committed believer, and he believed that message was dangerous. I mean, like in the sense of the Counter-Reformation happening because the church was convinced that Luther and Calvin and all those guys were imperiling the souls of their followers. And so he wrote Rosemary's Baby. William Peter Blatty is his name. He wrote The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Sorry. Blatty wrote The Exorcist specifically to bolster the role of the old priest and the young priest and the church and the institution. And these are the people who know how to protect us from...
Yeah, they're going to save us.
They are going to save us.
Right.
It's important to note that it was in the late 60s, early 70s that a rapid and dramatic decline in the number of new priests was a big deal.
Right.
It was a crisis within the church.
Jesus crisis.
Because, well, yes. heathen. And we begin with "Good day, sir." So
wow, that took a while.
Yeah, that one did. You're slipping. Got to nail that down better. I'm going to hell for that one. But
That'll be your cross to bear, not mine.
Well, yeah, because you're not even a believer. But
That's right.
So Blatty wrote the book as a response to this crisis in the declining number of new vocations for priests. And also as a response to Levin. He basically was like, this thing by Levin is garbage.
Right.
And
you hippies are fucking it up.
You hippies are you hippies are fucking everything up.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Levin basically wrote The Exorcist off as a bad copy of his own work. So these two guys wound up having a literary feud for years.
That's
afterward.
like Gore Vidal and what's his face?
Yeah.
Vidal Sassoon.
Yeah, or Freddy and Jason.
Right.
Within the genre. And so there was a whole article that a Facebook friend of mine who is a horror author.
Oh.
Well, he would call it, properly he's a weird fiction author, and that slides into horror.
Sure.
Slithers into horror. And so he hates the fact that Blatty won. Because The Exorcist wound up becoming the template
right
for all of the possession films going forward.
Oh yeah.
And Dwayne, if you're listening, hi. Being a weird fiction author and being a committed non-believer, really hates the fact that Hollywood has basically been obsessed with hell and demonic forces forever. He thinks it dumbs down the entire genre. He's got he could spout very, very well written screed about it for a long time. Mm-hmm. But I think while we're talking about these two movies and we're talking about them as a reaction to the moment in which they happened, it's also important to note their relationship to each other.
Yeah.
That literally The Exorcist was written as a, like you're talking about, as a, we have to find the right white guy in a position of authority to save us. That's literally what The Exorcist was written as an exhortation to do.
Right.
Because Rosemary's Baby is subversive to the extent that it's entirely secular. Mm-hmm. And that it ends on a deeply Dionysian note, whereas there is the still there Dionysian note of the fact that the priest has essentially taken the demon into himself in an act of Christian self-sacrifice for Regan. Mm-hmm. At the end of the film, but he is still victorious in saving the poor innocent little girl.
Right.
Through an act, God, this just struck me, through an act of self-sacrifice, because that's what we would want our people in positions of authority to ultimately be willing to do.
Well, and frankly, that's what we'd seen them doing for the last decade. JFK gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
RFK gets shot in the head. Martin Luther King gets shot in the back of the neck. Malcolm X gets shot all throughout his torso.
Full of holes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a lot of people getting shot. A lot of people dying for their causes.
A lot of people being martyrs.
Yes.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So that, I wanted, because the funny thing is, we outside of recording, we were talking about, you had mentioned that, well, I wasn't really feeling this one until I figured out what my thesis was, and then it all clicked and everything fell into place. And about the same time we had that conversation, my friend Dwayne shared
that's funny.
This article from Diabolique magazine about Blatty and Levin and their feud, and I was like, well, this is kismet.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important note in the midst of the rest of your thesis.
So I'm going to stop in just a little bit because we're at the end of this episode.
Okay.
But I do want to piggyback on what you said. Exorcist set the formula. It really did set the formula. Yeah, in many ways, it followed a formula that was already there, but it also it crystallized it.
What TV tropes would refer to as the trope codifier.
Yes. And by this time, it involved the formula now involves good triumphing over evil, an evil that had snuck into its innocent vessel.
Yes.
Rosemary's Baby didn't do that.
No.
The Vietnam War was ending in 1973 under Nixon. We had something called Peace with Honor.
Yes.
Watergate was also underway.
Yes.
You have this dovetailing of things. It looked as though someone did care about justice and governance. Maybe not the guy in charge.
But people in positions of authority were doing what needed to be done in order to right the ship and save us from, setting our entire country on fire.
Mm-hmm. So the American psyche was so damaged by this point that justice and governance were kind of hollow shadows of the bulwarks that they once were. Now again, for dominant culture.
Yeah.
I'm talking for white middle America.
Yeah.
They're more impressions than they are the things that they have come merely to offer a silhouette of. And while Friedkin couldn't know that Ford would ultimately pardon Nixon, and Kissinger would never be put on trial for war crimes all over the world, the scent was in the wind that there was a group of people whom justice just didn't touch.
Yeah.
And if not, then during Watergate, trust in the government would be on the rise because we'd be seeing the process. We did see the process. We saw that justice was prevailing. Didn't matter for shit. It continued to plummet.
Because we saw the process and nothing was ultimately happening.
Yeah. Well, we got the devil out of Reagan.
And it wound up moving into a different vessel.
So did we really fix anything?
No.
And we lost our priest.
Yeah.
So
we lost the old priest.
Right. Yeah. True.
We still have the young priest.
Yeah. But now
he doesn't know.
He doesn't know what the hell.
Shinola.
Right. And he's definitely gonna have a crisis of conscience.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
So, all right. So that's the end of the first episode of Possession. As my buddy George says, that I'm so fond of saying, what have you gleaned so far?
Well, I think it's reinforcement of the theme that keeps coming up forever when we do this, and is essentially the central thesis of what we're doing, which is whatever you set out to write, you're writing about now.
Yep.
And whether you are doing it consciously or not, that's what winds up coming out the end of your pen. And I think going back over the extent to which middle America was deeply, deeply traumatized by the beginning of the 70s, I think is a point that doesn't get a lot of play.
No.
I
think it will now, given that our current crop of historians, though they've dwindled in number by 3/4 as much as far as people having a vocation to the field, they are looking at memory as a part of what creates the historical record. That's in the historiography now as a school of thought. And this emphasis on trauma in the last 5 years has really, it's in psychology, but it's informing.
Well, it's in psychology. It's informing everything, and interestingly, it's become a very big thing in education. I know. Yeah. We spent a whole year at my site talking about how are we going to, we have to take into account that we're dealing with kids who are coming from backgrounds with
trauma-informed practices.
Trauma-informed practice.
Yeah. So we're seeing trauma-informed history starting to come out.
And so that I see what you're saying. Yeah. But that's going to be part of the historiography now. But the depiction of the 1970s in popular culture has not taken that into account. It's, tie-dye and hippies in the early 70s, and it's, disco and bell-bottom pants and, all that kind of stuff in the late 70s.
It's all the affect.
It's all the surface, oh, hey, do you remember everything was olive, and, how tacky were the colors and all that kind of stuff. If last year, it was either last year or year before, on Netflix, my wife and I wound up binge watching our way through that 70s show.
Oh, okay.
And that did a really good job at highlighting how social mores have changed.
Yes.
It did a really great job illuminating the ways in which social ideas were changing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the mom of the primary character's family goes out and gets a job,
Right.
and the dad is really not happy about that. Doesn't like the fact that that's necessary. It's the
Right.
breadwinner. She shouldn't have to do that.
He still wears a hat.
He still wears it. You know, and it's all this transitional stuff that was going on gets illuminated really well. And there is a brilliant moment where they talk about the 76 election,
Huh?
where Red stands up and says, "You pardoned Nixon," in this tone of indignation. Like, how could you do that?
Wow. And I guarantee you, Red voted Nixon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the character.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, and the fact that he stood up and was like, you know, how that is the tip of the iceberg as far as recognition of the moral trauma that everybody had been put through by that point. And that's the extent to which we get it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just not something that comes up. You know?
Well, you know, it's a sitcom. It's in popular culture. It came out after Friends. It was a Friends clone set in the 70s in a lot of ways.
Okay.
You know, you got 6 people.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm using,
but you're
that
absolutely
as
right.
as a specific kind
Sure.
of, you know, stand-in for the way the 70s
Sure.
get portrayed, kind of everywhere else.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're talking about something really gritty, you know, like if you do a police procedural set in that period, it's going to be grimmer. It's not going to be ha-ha, but it's still not really going to talk about.
That's true.
It's going to talk about how Life on Mars, talking about, you know, a detective show police procedural in the 70s, Life on Mars, shows how, you know, police brutality was a matter of course in a lot of departments. You know, and how just the police culture and our expectations of law enforcement have changed since then. And it was pretty grim in a lot of places and, and very gritty, but it was still the surface impression of look how different times were back then. And it didn't actually go into look how really deeply fucked up everybody was by the times they were living in.
Yeah, it's kind of like reading history. It's kind of like learning history by reading a school textbook versus looking at the primary source.
Yeah.
Versus, it's like reading a book about Uncle Tom's Cabin instead of reading Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So that's what sticks with me.
Yeah. All right. Well, next episode I will get into 1979.
Okay.
And then I'll go a little farther, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss further possession movies.
Okay.
But for right now, I'm going to put you on the spot. What books do you have that you could recommend?
Let's see. I was just trying to sit down and read one. Orthodoxy.
Okay.
On Orthodoxy by G.K. Chesterton. Speaking of Catholicism. It is a Christian apologetics. So not for everybody. But I find that the older I get and the more life experience I get, the more I can identify with Chesterton's view of the world and of faith.
Okay.
And I find it comforting, and his language is simultaneously very kind of homey and very articulate.
Nice.
So how about you?
There is a book. It's a self-help book. I don't normally go for self-help books by Hiroyuki Nishigaki.
Okay.
Called How to Goodbye Depression If You Constrict Anus 100 Times Every Day, Malarkey or Effective Way.
My God, you actually did it.
It is on Amazon for $16. And I would just like to read to you a description. Product description. I think constricting anus 100 times and denting navel 100 times in succession every day is effective to goodbye depression and take back youth. You can do so at a boring meeting or in a subway. I have known a 70-year-old man who has practiced it for 20 years. As a result, he has good complexion and has grown 20 years younger. His eyes sparkle. He is full of vigor, happiness, and joy. He has neither complained nor borne a grudge under any circumstance. Furthermore, he can make fuck 3 times in succession without drawing out. In addition, he also can have burned a strong, beautiful fire within his abdomen. It can burn out the dirty stickiness of his body, releases a material fiber or third attention which has been confined to his stickiness. Then he can shoot out his immaterial fiber or third attention to an object, concentrate on it, and attain happy, lucky feeling through the success of concentration. If you don't know concentration, which gives you peculiar pleasure, your life looks like a hell.
Wow. That guy really needs to hire a better translator.
Oh, I thought he was a native speaker. Book length of 252 pages.
Sweet mother of God,
puss. Here's the review. The first 90 pages are literally just copy pasted from forum chat where people are making fun of the author while the author drops. Does exactly as advertised in aiding you in good buying depression, albeit not at all how the author intended. Speaking of authorial intent.
Yeah.
Just a taste of what this book includes. The first 90 pages are literally just a copy-pasted forum chat where people are making fun of the author while the author drops by, completely unaware that he is the butt of the joke, and lands a few more gems for the forum crowd to rip apart. Anyway,
wow.
I don't normally go for self-help books.
No.
But any kind of self-help book where you can goodbye depression, I don't think is malarkey.
So, yeah. Are you going to give credit for where you got the recommendation for that?
I will. And I feel a little bad telling tales out of school because she didn't give me permission to do this. But my good friend Julie found this gem and turned me on to it. And I tell you, my life is better. My life is no longer living a hell.
Okay.
So there you go.
I'm very glad to hear that for you.
Yes. Depression, goodbye.
Goodbye.
I've dented my navel 100 times just during this very podcast.
I didn't need to know that.
So, for
Geek... didn't need to know that. Why? I was having a good night. We were all having such a good night.
So, for a Geek History of Time, I'm Damian Harmony.
And I'm Ed Blaylock. And keep your rosary handy.
And constrict your anus 100 times.
Or don't.